I have been working my blanket and I've come to a point where I am running out of my skein of yarn. So at this point, I'm going to have to add a new yarn skein. So you want to make sure that you have left about enough to work at least one more stitch and an additional 6 inches to be able to weave in that yarn tail. So how we're going to do this is we're going to work this stitch up until the very last 2 loops, and then we will add our new skein of yarn. So let's yarn over and begin this stitch and insert our hook, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 1 loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and now we've got 2 loops left on the hook, and this is where we want to be. And you can see that I have, oh yeah, at least a good 6 inches here, and that's a good tail length. Okay, so drop that behind your work, grab your new skein of yarn here, and I like to bring my tails to the back. So here's the tail on my new skein, and I'm just going to drop that behind my hook. Now you want to make sure you have at least 6 inches of tail hanging behind there, so, because again you're going to have to weave that in. Okay, so hang on to your old tail over here just to get a grip on things, and you've got your new yarn hooked over. The tail is behind, the new working yarn is in the front, and just place that over the hook. Hang on to things so it doesn't fall apart, and just pull that new loop on the hook right through the very last 2 loops that were on your hook of the old yarn. Okay, now drop the old and the new tails behind there, and hang on to your new working yarn, and just yarn over, and let's work a couple of stitches so it gets good and anchored in there. I like to work at least 1 stitch, if not 2, just to make sure it's, not falling apart. Okay, so flipping your work around to the back here, you can see your old tail and your new tail, and you're going to take your old tail and you're going to run it to weave it in. You're going to run it in this direction, and for your new tail you're going to run it this direction, and that just helps it to anchor better. I'm going to do a separate video on using a yarn needle to weave in all of these ends. So that is how you add a new skein of yarn. And when I get to this green area, I'm also going to do a video on how to add the yarn on the side edges here, and to also end it on the side edge.